Hello, and welcome to the Dreams Come True podcast. My name is Austin Henson, and today, the long-awaited debate, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, the GOAT. To my left, we have...
Ryan Moreau, a master debater.
And to my right, we have...
AJ Dunn, a.k.a. So Fresh to Death, a.k.a. The Best There Is, a.k.a. The Best Out of Night Dale, a.k.a. The Best Ball You've Ever Seen, a.k.a. The One That Will Win Today, a.k.a. The Bronze Champion, a.k.a.
People's Champ.
Not above the people, but equal. That's me.
Nice. First of all, how you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm here living the dream.
That's good. You, AJ?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
Can't complain. You gonna be watching that Lakers game?
I will. I don't need my whole attention to get this. This light work.
This is easy money.
It's easy money. Hey. Easy
All right,
money.
man. So I'm excited about this. This has been sort of in the works for, since we started doing this, Ryan.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while because I would know that we would go to the gym, we'd play some basketball, and then you guys would get into like 2-hour discussions about who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Some of the stuff was, very solid. Some of it was a bit less than solid.
Yeah, we going and saying that Magic Johnson has a better jump shot.
Okay, we'll get to we'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right. So I have this sort of structured out into 6 sections. We have an opening statement that you guys will do. Just explaining your side of the debate. We have who is better at basketball, at the game of basketball, accomplishments taken out of all of it. Who is a better basketball player? When we get to the third, we're going to look at the peaks of each player and how they relate to one another. And you can say what the peak was for Michael, you can say what the peak was for LeBron, or you can say either or for the other side. We can also have the accomplishments of each player. So obviously we talk about the championships, all NBA teams, all-star teams, MVPs, regular season awards. And then this is probably my favorite of it all, the classic moments, because there's always those stories, like the flu game, the
coming back from 3-1. Let's move
3-1. That'll definitely get brought up.
That's not even goal right now.
And then at the end we'll see where you guys stand and how you want to just wrap it all up. How's that sound?
Dope.
Yeah,
Ready.
I like it.
You guys ready to go?
Ready. I done pulled up Michael's stats.
All right. So being the hometown dreams come true guy, we'll have Ryan go first. Ryan, so your opening statement on, and let people know who you think is better of the two.
Hello. First and foremost, everybody subscribe. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers before the end of the semester. It could happen.
It will happen.
It will happen. I like it. Anyways, since I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, everybody knows Michael Jordan owns this city. This is his city. So, Wilmington, North Carolina, home of the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, everybody knows he has 6 championships, never lost in the finals. And he's an extremely influential player in terms, not just in the sport of basketball, but also in running across all sports. So the only person I think comparable to Michael Jordan in terms of being considered the greatest athlete of all time is Muhammad Ali. And he probably has him. Or Muhammad Ali has Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan is definitely a close second. I believe Michael Jordan's the best because he is a ruthless killer on the court. He reached the pinnacle of his sport. Him and Muhammad Ali did. He reached the absolute peak. Perfect condition, mint condition. He's the gold standard. He's what everybody considers the very best. If you ask a lot of players in other sports, so like football, ask soccer, they'll say, who is your favorite athlete? A lot of them will say Michael Jordan because he's such a great competitor. He's got that competitive spirit. He tries extremely hard, and he accomplished a whole bunch in his playing career. So I can go a little bit further, but that's all I got to say right now in my opening statement. Thank you for listening.
All right, AJ, what you got?
LeBron James is the best basketball player that we have seen to date. Now, that may change 10 to 15 years from now because like in anything else in this world, We evolve. Now, the same way they said that Bill Russell was the best player in the 60s, you know what happened? Kareem came along. Bigger, stronger, more skilled. You know what happened next? Then we had Michael came. Well, let's not skip Magic and Larry. They came along. Better shooters, better handlers. Excuse me. Then we went to the 90s. You know what happened? We got better. We had Michael Jordan, dominant scorer. Couldn't really pass that well. Good defender. You know what happened? We kept going. But it's only that in the 90s where these people hold on to thinking it's never going to get better. Like the world has just stopped. Basketball has just stagnated. It's just common sense to say with better technology, better conditioning, better knowledge, players will get better. And if you just look at LeBron with the eye test, he's bigger, stronger, faster. Look at him at the statistics, he has better numbers besides scoring. Look at him as a teammate, he's better. He doesn't punch his teammates in the face. Look at him as a human being, let's not even go there. Just overall, when it comes to basketball, he's evolved from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the greatest of his time. LeBron is the greatest of his time. 20 years from now, you know what I'm not going to be saying? Oh, LeBron's still the greatest. If I see somebody come up and do things better than him, I'm going to say that person's now the greatest of his era. So LeBron's the greatest. But to each his own. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, guys. So now let's just go ahead and just go straight into who is the better basketball player. So the way we're going to do this, Ryan's going to go, AJ is going to go, and then you guys are just kind of go back and forth. Sound good?
Cool.
All right. And we'll switch off every time. So the next one, AJ will start first. You go, Ryan.
All right. Of course, Michael Jordan is the better basketball player. Now, I brought up a point before talking about how I said that Michael Jordan was a shooting guard, and he said positions are irrelevant. But you have to think about it. At that time, he said positions are really for like novices and people who don't understand basketball. At that time, it was more of a traditional type of system, so players would play their roles more specifically. So Michael Jordan, his role was shooting guard, and the role of a shooting guard was to create space, run out the ball, initiate offense. So pretty much just score the ball whenever they had a chance to get to the ball. So Michael Jordan, his whole thing was he was a scorer. His playing style was really competitive. It was more based off of score first. That's my job. That's my role in the team is to score. If we need a bucket, I need to get a bucket. If I need to create, run out the ball and create space, then that's what I have to do. In particular, I think definitely his strength is shooting. Overall, a lot of people would just say that his strength is shooting, but he was also a good defender as well. So defensively, he was a very good player, and he would stay in front of his man. If you just look at some of his highlights, a lot of his highlights were, steals, and he was famous for a lot of his explosive transition baskets, transition dunks, transition slams, layups, and stuff. And a lot of that has to do with his defense initiating that. So he was able to shoot the ball offensively, but he was also able to create offense through his defensive awareness, defensive anticipation. So I think a lot of his shots, he would score in a variety of ways as well. So he could do a lot of technical shots. So he could do a lot of back downs. He could do a lot of turnarounds. He could do spins. He could do up and unders. His creativity level was extremely high. And whereas LeBron, I don't really want to compare LeBron right now too fast, but whereas LeBron had something to build off of, he could steal some of Michael Jordan's moves. But Michael Jordan could steal from other people's moves, but he added on to that. He added his own creative flavor into it. So at the time, a lot of the moves he did were unseen before, jumping from the free throw line, try to dunk. A lot of that stuff was attempted, but a lot of it was not executed as well as he did. So he could no, hold on. So I'm speaking in circles, but that's all right. I'm not going to concede that I did that. But his play style is unique, and he's one of the best shooters of all time. And that's all I got right now. I can add on, a little bit later.
Okay, Jesse, you want to respond? So just give out your opinion first, and then you can respond to what he's gonna say. And then I would love to see the back and forth on this. I can already tell it's gonna be interesting.
All right. So I'm not gonna respond to what he just said. I'm just gonna say myself about Bron first. Okay. So Bron, as a basketball player, is a dominant scorer, dominant passer, and pretty good to great rebounder. As a scorer, which is probably the only thing that Michael is said to be better at him at. Maybe defense, you might give him that. But as a scorer, that's his major. That's what he's you said that's what he's known for as a scorer. LeBron is about to pass him in scoring this year. His year 16. Michael played how many years? 15. So to say he's that much better of a scorer, it only took him one extra year to get his numbers. So I don't see the gap there. LeBron averaged 27 points a game. Michael averaged 30. So one three-pointer that makes him such a better scorer than LeBron. Okay. LeBron averages 2% from the field for his career. So for somebody not to be a good scorer, he's highly efficient. In LeBron's peak years, as we like to say, I think he averaged 57%, unheard of. But he's not a good scorer. He's not a dominant scorer. Just because LeBron doesn't score the same way that Michael scored doesn't mean he's not a dominant scorer. Being able to tap the rim anytime you want is dominant. Being able to shoot three-pointers at a higher clip than Michael, basically his whole career, is dominant. Let's see. Being able to pass the ball at passes people can't see is dominant. People call him the best passer since Magic Johnson. I mean, to add Magic Johnson's skill and Michael Jordan scoring together is what you have with LeBron. But teachers on. Now I want to reply to what you said about Michael being innovative. I was going to give you the point that he had some unseen moves, but then you said jumping from the free throw line. He only did that in the slam dunk competition, and he copied Dr. J doing it 10 years earlier. So please don't say that's innovative.
I know. I can see that. I can see that one. Okay.
The move he's the most known for is the fadeaway, which, I mean, he's not even the best person at doing that. Kobe's a better shooter than him at the fadeaway.
Kobe, who stole it from Jordan.
And did it better.
Yeah, after years of practice.
So that goes to my point in me saying that players evolve and get better as time ages, which is why I don't understand why we're stuck with saying a guy from 25 years ago is better than a guy who's been playing the last 10 years at an unseen level.
Now, I think that Michael Jordan, yes, you said that LeBron is good. Yeah, he's good at what he can do. But once again, it's more of you have to look at it from the standpoint of where he was at. It's more of a traditionalist type of
I want to reply to that too.
Yeah.
When you said that. You said traditionalist type. But when I say that basketball is like position just for novice, I got that from Jalen Rose. Shout out to Jalen Rose if he hears this. Shout out to J Rose. I got that from him. And what he means by that is the main ball, like the main people on the team are going to be handling the ball for most of the game. So point guard is just a position. But when you watch the Bulls play, you know who they gave to the ball to? Either Jordan on the block or Scottie at the three-point line. So like the point guard didn't really play the point guard position because he wasn't the main ball handler. Steve Kerr wasn't bringing the ball down the court saying, run 4 or 5. That's not what they did. So that's what I mean when I say positionless basketball. If Michael was a passer like how Bron or Magic was, he would have averaged 8 or 9 assists the same way Larry Bird averaged 8 or 9 assists as a small forward in the 80s. So just to say it's because it's a position why he doesn't pass a lot, that's not true. It's because he liked to score. His first 2, 3 to 4 years, the reason he didn't go anywhere because they say he didn't pass the ball. That was his criticism. That's why they didn't get out the first round. He scored 63 against Boston and lost in 5 games. So I mean, you gotta be. He's a good player, but we sometimes mythicize his career. We act like he never lost. You said in your beginning he's a perfect player. He's not perfect. He lost the Magic. He lost to the Magic in '94. If Bron lost to the Magic in '94, you know what they say? If Skip Bayless was around then, I can't believe he lost to the young Shaquille O'Neal 3 years into the league.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say too is that Michael Jordan, he has like skill. He has skills. You can't deny how skillful he is in terms of taking over a game. And that's the main point I was trying to make. LeBron James uses his attributes, his physical attributes, to get where he's at. So he's really good. He's really strong. He's quick. That's not Michael Jordan's fault, but he just utilizes that extremely, I'd say, much better than most players in the league.
So are you taking that away from Bron because he's bigger and stronger than everybody? You saying
No,
that's...
let me finish.
I'm sorry.
So, but Michael Jordan, he brought in a lot of things. So he's never been the most physical type of player, but he's maximized everything he was given. So he's never been the biggest or strongest. So what he did was he introduced weightlifting into the game, and that was almost unheard of back in the day. Like LeBron uses that now, weightlifting. Almost all athletes in basketball use weightlifting, and Jordan was the one that introduced that. So without that, LeBron may not be as big and strong as he is now.
I agree. That's why I said they evolve and get better after. From time to time.
But you can't take away that physicality that he developed. He used that in the games. So he got faster. He got quicker with the ball. That allowed him to make quicker decisions. That allowed his shot to develop more. He could increase his range. And you talked about earlier about how good of a shooter LeBron is from the three-point line. Michael Jordan did not grow up playing and utilizing a three-point line. The three-point line didn't come into the game until, it didn't come into the NBA until I think like 83 or 84. So when you're growing up and you have no precedent to look at, how are you supposed to shoot from this distance? In the 60s, 50s, and 60s, no players would shoot from half court, like 30 feet out, because they're like, what's the point of doing that when you don't get no extra points for scoring from that far out? They would still shoot, but not from like 30 or 40 feet.
I'm not gonna let you ride with that one, man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because Larry Bird is still to this day one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. Reggie Miller is still to this day one of the best 3-point shooters of this time. Larry Bird came in the league
ahead of his
6
time.
years before Michael. And Reggie Miller was in the league. If Michael's supposed to be that guy, he's supposed to be ahead of his time. And if you want to say that, when LeBron was first in the league, 3-point shooting was not how it was now. He could barely shoot when he got into the league. You know what he did? He adapted to the times.
It took him a while, though, to get decently proficient.
It took Michael never. He never got decently proficient. He shot 32%.
But he was still, like he said, LeBron was effective. Jordan was effective. He learned how to adapt, and he was able to shoot okay from the three-point line.
32% is okay?
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny it. It wasn't a three-point heavy league, though, at the time. Now it just recently became a three-point heavy league. That's why LeBron wasn't that good at three-point shooting. He didn't need to get better at it because there weren't teams like Golden State around. Google says three-point line was implemented in 1979. That was in college, not in the NBA. It didn't. Not until the NBA, it was 83 or 84.
But it still doesn't matter because Larry Bird is like one of the best three-point shooters of all time. He learned how to shoot. They didn't have the three-point line when he was in college, but he adapted to it and made it part of his game.
Yeah.
Michael didn't make it part of his game because he wasn't a good shooter from out there.
Yeah, he didn't need to, but he was good.
I'm not saying he needed to.
He was solid for what he could do, for what was required at the time. And just like LeBron has never been a great three-point shooter, but he's forced almost to get better at it now because it's a three-point game.
He's a pretty good three-point shooter now. You be seeing him shooting all the way from Sacramento.
Now it's taking him 15 years. He's in year, 16?
This is not his first year being good at it. He shot 40% in 2012.
2012, all right. So 8 years after he came in, grew up watching three-point shooters.
It took Michael 7 years to win a championship. Don't act like 8 years is a long time.
He had all these three-point shooters to watch. Reggie Miller. It was so many three-point shooters. Steve Kerr, so many three-point shooters to watch and learn from before he even got in the league. Y'all want to go to the next one?
Yeah, you guys ready to
let's
go
to the next topic.
All right. I want to get some feedback from the room real quick. You just what you guys are thinking.
Well, hang on right now because we trying to fact check Ryan for a second because he says it's college, but I just looked up and sent you guys the screenshot.
It's 1970.
In October of 1979, somebody shot the first 3-point shot in the NBA.
I actually kind of like this. You guys be our fact checkers. So by the end,
we're
Yeah,
just
'cause
sitting
some
in
of
here
my-
looking everything up.
Because
that
some
you
of my
guys say.
Bron facts I think are a little off by year,
Actually,
so just check them.
I think I had it flipped. I think it was 79 in the NBA and 83 or 84 in college. That's what it was.
okay.
86 is when
Well,
college did it.
86.
I'm looking it up on basketball.
So what'd you guys think?
I didn't look it up.
What'd you guys think
Of what?
of just the section? I mean, you've been listening to it.
I mean,
I'm tearing them up, ain't I? I'm tearing them
We
up.
will not decide any winners until
Y'all know I'm
this is over.
tearing them up. It's
We're
all
not
right.
gonna say anything.
All right, you guys
We're not
keep-
favoring anybody. We're just gonna keep listening,
You guys keep a score. Keep a score.
keeping a score.
I'm
All
tearing
right,
them
all
up.
right.
Y'all know.
All right, we're going on to the next thing.
All right, next thing.
All right. So let's look at the peaks of each player.
Let us.
So
do that.
whenever I say this, each of you will tell me what you consider the peaks of each player. Each of you will tell me what you consider the peaks of each player and
you.
how they relate to one another. So since Ryan started the last one, AJ.
Can you pull up Michael's stats while I pull up Bron's stats, man?
Just like
I can't
career
look at
stats.
Yeah, I can't look at both of them on my phone.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you, man.
So AJ, you're gonna go first.
All right. Off the
Give
top,
me a time frame of each one, too.
Off the top of my head, I'm still trying to pull up the stats. I would say Bron's peak was his second year in Miami, which I think is 2012, all the way to last year. Was his peak. I wouldn't say his peak is this year.
So
because of the
so
injury.
so LeBron's second year in Miami through his second tenure in Cleveland.
Correct. I would say that's his peak basketball performance. So how many years would that be? Let's see. That's 12 to 18. So a 6 year being like the best we've ever seen. That's what I think. I think right now he's. If you started right here, the way he's playing right now, you might say
starting to go down.
he's like the 4th or 5th best player of all time. Like right now, but like his peak years, I definitely say are 2012 to 2018, and that even leaves out like his best scoring year, which was like in like 08 when they won 65 games. It was just him and like Cleveland by themselves. I think they won 66. I can't remember off the top. Anyway, I would say that's his peak. I say that because during that time he could legitimately, I know I destroyed that word right there, guard 4 positions and on rare occasions guard 5 positions. We've seen it numerous times. He shut down Derrick Rose in the playoffs in 2012. He shut down Tony Parker in Game 6 and Game 7 of the finals in 2013. Thank you. He was an awesome defensive player those years. And his offense, like I said earlier, was unheard of. His efficiency, is that word right?
Efficiency
was amazing at that time. I mean, 50, 55, averaging like that type of percentage, shooting 40% from 3, I think, like in 2013, is amazing. And then we go down to his Cleveland years where he's a little more mature. He's a little different. Like, he's not as good defensively those years, but his offensive game started to expand. His 3-point shot became much more a part of his repertoire. Hey, look at that word, repertoire, in his years back in Cleveland. You know what I mean? It was a sight to see. His dominance in the 2015 finals, even though they lost, the man was averaging 40 points a game, took the Golden State Warriors to 6 games with Matthew Dellavedova, being his best player. You know what I mean? That's amazing. Then we got to go to 2016.
We'll get to the accomplishment or to the classic moments.
I'm just talking about I'm just going with stats. Man led both teams in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Never done before. Even with Michael's 6th finals, he never did that one. But let's move on. Let's not talk about that right now. That's just amazing. Then we go to his 2017 year. He was dominant on the offensive end. You go in the postseason, he was hitting game-winning shots, carrying his team by himself. He didn't even have Matthew Dellavedova in that squad. He had George Hill, who couldn't even hit a free throw. He had J.R. Smith, who was playing for the other team. Still got him to the finals. Still took that young boy Jason Tatum to the hole, even when he tried to dunk on him. I had to let him know. I ain't finished. I'm almost finished. Then he go to the finals in year 15, dropped 50 on them boys, had them shocked. They was shook.
Well, they collapsed after that, didn't they?
Let's not talk about that right now. This is
Ryan,
accomplishment
we're not
section.
responding yet.
Yeah, Ryan. Stay out. Show me some proper respect over here. Anyway, So that's why I'll say his peak years. A dominance of offense and defense. Thank you.
All right, so just to be clear, you said his domination was for 6 years.
I'm saying that's his peak.
His peak was for 6 years.
He was dominant for 15, so let's get that right.
Michael
16.
Jordan's peak was from 88 to 98. 88 to 98, everybody knows that. Because early on in Michael Jordan's career, it was unfortunate because he was drafted. I looked up, it was an article, and a guy, because I'm not an NBA historian, I can't go back and look at all the footage. I don't have all that available to look at. But there was a guy that said that LeBron had a better team than Michael Jordan his first 4 seasons. Because it wasn't until, I think it was year 4, that Scottie Pippen got into the team. And I say all that to say this, that Jordan in 1988, or starting in 86 actually, he averaged 37.1. Then each year, then it went down to 35, 32.5, 33.6, 31.5, 30.1, 32.6, 20, and then he retired. And then 26.9, 30.4, 29.6, 28.7. So the reason I say 88 was, I already just said it earlier, but his team was not all that good, but he was still putting up in extremely high amount of points, and he was still producing at an extremely high level. And it's hard to do that in the 80s, because at the time, a lot of people they had never really seen anything like that before. It was a really physical era. It was really hard to get shots off like that, even though some players could shoot, but he was starting to do it in a creative way that a lot of people had never seen before. So he had just brought in a different kind of feel, different kind of era. And I'll say this too, that Michael Jordan played 9 times. He played 82 games in the regular season. So that really is a testament to his durability and his ability to play for a really long amount of time in a really physical league, in a really physical era. The 80s, everybody looks down on the 80s like they couldn't play back then. But really the 80s was the start of the common NBA era. So it was a little mix of the old school, a little mix of the new school. And at that time, it was really difficult to, like I said, get your shots off. It was hard to drive in, hard to get a lot of finishes around the basket. So you had to be really creative with the ways and type of ways you could score. His assist numbers were pretty solid, considering he did control the ball pretty well and moved it around okay. So starting in 88, he had 8. He averaged 8 assists that year. Then after that, 6.3, 5.5, 6.1, 5.5. So that's pretty solid for a guard. In an era that's just, you just move the ball around. It's not really they didn't run a whole bunch of sets and a whole lot of set plays. It was kind of decent for that. Let's see, his 3-point field goal percentage was not the best, but like I said before, he didn't grow up watching 3-point shooters. He didn't grow up watching, people shoot from distance. He didn't have access to a lot of films, a lot of knowledge surrounding 3-point shooting and shooting from distance. So he started in 88, 27%, 37%, 31%, 27%, 35%. And that's pretty solid. That's really not bad considering the modern era of basketball. You're just going into introducing the 3-point line, and there's not a lot of precedent, so that's really not bad. But I would say that is definitely his peak. And everybody knows it's low-hanging fruit, but a lot of LeBron fans will be like, "Oh, don't even bring it up." But it's 6 championships.
We're not there yet. We're not at the accomplishments.
Oh,
yet.
Okay. But just from that whole stretch from 88 to 98, he was definitely the most dominant player in that era, and nobody can deny that. That whole time, nobody can deny from 88 to 98 that he dominated the NBA.
I can't.
And that's much longer. That's much longer than LeBron's 6 years.
Can I respond now?
Go ahead.
I was being nice saying 6 years, like saying where he was at his peak. I don't know what you were doing, because in 98, the announcers were saying he slowed down. He has to score different ways. He wasn't the same player he was in 88. He didn't have the hops in 98 that he had in 98. And you can't say he was in his peak when he didn't play for 2 years. So how can he be the best player when he's not even playing? Hakeem Olajuwon was the best player in 95 and 96. And before he retired, the Houston was like beating the Bulls in the regular season. They talk. You can like listen to Kenny Smith talk about how they had their number. So I can't give you those 2 years. In 88, how was he the best player when he lost to Isaiah Thomas?
They had a much better team than he did.
Really?
They did? Oh my gosh.
Really?
People, you have to go back and look at that Pistons team. That really was a team that could have three-peated.
They could have.
They could have three-peated.
They were that Thomas good. Was beating up on Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. He was more developed. That was in Jordan. In 88, that was Jordan.
You said that's Jordan at his peak. If he's at his peak.
The start of his peak.
So Isaiah Thomas led team.
With a more developed
Isaiah Thomas not even a top 10 player, and
he's top 15.
Is he?
But with Joe Dumars, Mark Aguirre, that team was way more developed than him.
Mark McGuire.
Mark. What's his name?
That's right. McGuire played on that team. I don't know if his name was Mark. It might have been Matt McGuire, but McGuire.
I think it was Mark Aguirre or Aguirre.
Mark Aguirre.
They say it.
But those are the guys.
Bill Laimbeer. That was Dennis Rodman. That was a good team.
If I'm going by the way you're saying it, then I would have to put Bron all the way back in 07 where he was taking the team to the finals. But I didn't want to do that because I want to say when he was literally at his best where he wasn't developing anymore. 88, he didn't have that jump shot. He didn't start hitting that jump shot until like the 90s when they won championships. Okay. Let's be honest, man. I mean, let's be even with both the guys.
Okay.
So if I'm not going to give Bron the years where he was, like I said, he scored 30 points. He averaged 30 points a game in 08. I didn't give him that year because he wasn't his best. Don't give Michael the years in the 80s where he was still losing.
All right. So I'll say from 90 to 98 and then take away the 2 years. So it evens up at 6.
And I can't give him 98. I give him 96 or 97.
I still got to give him 98 because he was on top of the league. The reason I did give him those extra years, I mean, I would almost consider him the best even still when he was retired, was because a lot of analysts said that they negated that Rockets championship because they said Michael Jordan is retired right now. When they said if he had played, then he definitely would still be the best player.
But is that fair? Let's be honest. Is that fair?
It's a little fair.
That's not fair because he couldn't handle his stuff. He got in gambling trouble that he had to leave the league. That's not fair.
That's personal issues, though. That has nothing to do with playing.
You cannot be the best player if you don't play. That's just being honest, man. That's not fair to Hakeem. He worked his tail off.
He did work hard, but Jordan wasn't in the league.
Jordan was in the league and didn't make it to the finals. He could have played him in the finals, but he got bounced.
He tried.
I know they burn the tapes. They don't never show him on NBA TV. He lost in 5 games? How many games he lose that series? 6 games?
What, was it 5? 5 or 6?
5 or 6. To a young Shaq and Penny Hardaway. And you said that thing earlier about him that LeBron had better teams early on in his career.
He did have better
than
teams.
Michael. You said he didn't get Scottie till year 4.
Yeah.
LeBron didn't have an All-Star till year 7 or 8 when he got to Dwayne Wade.
But he still had decent players like Ilgauskas, Boozer. All right,
Boobie Gibson.
I need to read you Michael.
Mo Williams. Yeah, he had great players.
I will read you, Mike. That's not from me. That's what a historian said.
I don't care what no historian said.
For 4 years. If I read you, you wouldn't recognize any of the names.
You don't recognize the names I'm saying. You only recognize them because we were alive when they happened.
Yeah.
Where did Boobie Gibson play after he played with LeBron? Tell me. Exactly.
Detroit.
He made an impact.
He was all right.
Where'd Mo Williams go? Mr. Mo. He was supposed to be like our second best player. Come on now.
Probably like the Nuggets or someone like that.
Ilgauskas, really?
I said I don't have access to all the teams.
But I'm just saying, let's be honest. No, I would say they had the same type of team. I wouldn't say they had. Because Brian had no.
Ilgauskas was good, though.
He never made an All-Star team. How is he good?
Yeah, I'm just going off the eye test. That's because that's what I've seen. Yeah.
The man was 7'3", couldn't run faster than a turtle, man. He was
He
slow.
can get those rebounds though.
Rebounds.
Putbacks. That's better than what Jordan had.
I can get rebounds and putbacks, man. That's not skill.
That is skill. It's skill if you do it for a long period of time.
All right. Let's move on.
Are you ready to move on?
Topic,
All right.
Austin.
What we got in the room?
What do you want in the room?
That you're our fact checkers, aren't you,
What are we fact checking?
Luke? Luke.
In the 1995 Magic versus Bulls, they played 6 games.
6 games. Yeah.
6 games. All right. How you guys think it's going so far?
It's going fantastic.
All right. Keep on tallying those scores.
Yeah, we're totally writing things down.
All right.
It's almost worse than Golden State beat Bron in the finals. I'm like destroying it right now.
All right. So here we go. Moving on to the accomplishments of the players. Individual, team, any accomplishments.
Hey, let me say this, Ryan. This is your goal. This is your one. You better
Better
win
shoot
this
your shot.
one. This is it.
All right. So, AJ, you went first last time. Ryan, you're up.
All right, here we go. Jordan, better accomplishments. This is easy money. And I won this one already. I don't even got to say anything. Michael Jordan won the scoring title 10 times. 10 times. If LeBron is so-called the best player, how come he didn't win it, at least 8 times, 7, 8 times, and he's played longer? So-called decent player. The biggest one I do want to notice and highlight is that Michael Jordan is only one of 4 players to win Defensive Player of the Year in his career and MVP. And so, of course, you already said that Michael Jordan was a good defender, and he's a way better defender than LeBron. Way better. One-on-one, basically, he's as tenacious as Kawhi Leonard. But he played so hard. The reason he didn't play for such a long time was because he played so tenacious for his entire career. He played as hard as he could every single time. And like I said before, he played 82 games 9 times in his career. LeBron didn't do that until just last year. That was the first time he ever played 82 games. First time. And on top of that, Michael Jordan led the league in steals 3 separate times at 88, 90, and 93. So that just goes to show that he wasn't just a scorer. He did it on both ends of the court. And LeBron is famous for, being the conductor out there, pointing and being like, hey, you be over here, hey. Even though that's his guy all the way in the corner, wide open. But Jordan, he took initiative. He didn't just blame people and point and just be like, hey, that should have been your guy, even if that was his man. He took initiative and he defended with a lot of heart and a lot of character. And so, let's see. So we can bring up the 6 championships. But, that's like low-hanging fruit, like I said. From 90, I think it was like 91, 92, 93. Took a little break. Came back. 96, 97, 98. Dominated. Could have been 8 straight if he didn't have
It couldn't have been 8 straight because he lost. Oh, sorry.
It could have been 8 straight if he had been, it was unfortunate his dad died and stuff, and he was going through some personal issues. But that was definitely a big accomplishment of his. Let me see. Oh, yeah. If LeBron is so-called a big beast and he's the best player too, how come Michael Jordan's career high is higher than LeBron? LeBron's career high is 61. Michael Jordan's career high is 69 points. A 69-point career high. But he doesn't have the same, but he's not as good as LeBron James. But he has a higher career high than him. And that was a very, at the time, 69 points was a good accomplishment. So, yeah.
All right, AJ, it's your turn. Don't reply just yet. Just do your thing.
Okay, all right. Michael Jordan has better accomplishments than LeBron James.
I won.
Do you have anything you want to say to him about something that he says, or?
I do. You said that scoring 69 at that time was like a major accomplishment. David Robinson scored over 70 points in like 95. So, I don't know why you were making such a big deal about that he scored 69 his career high, and LeBron only scored 61. That doesn't mean anything. Scoring is not. That's not all this game is about. And if we're going by that, then Kobe scored 81. Why couldn't Michael score 81? Wilt scored 100. Why? I mean, that's 40. That's like 31 more points than Michael. I don't want to just go by who scored the most, or like,
I mean that's accomplishments though. 69 points, career high. That's a great accomplishment.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool.
It is.
It don't change the world. You scored 69 points. That's cool. I mean, nobody. That's not what I remember when I think of Michael Jordan. I'm scoring 69 because that's not the record. What I remember is 81 because that's the record after Wilt, and what I remember is Wilt scoring 100. I mean, like I said, David Robinson scored more than he did. And nobody thinks of David Robinson as his all-time great scorer. You were hot that night. James Harden's probably going to score that eventually. We're not going to say he's a better scorer than Michael Jordan. I mean, I wouldn't. Some people might if they never watched. I would. Obviously, Michael has more accomplishments than LeBron. He's won more championships, and this is a championship sport. It's what you strive for. Michael has 6. Bron has 3. Michael has 5 MVPs. Bron has 4. Michael has 9 or 10 all defensive teams. Bron has 5. He's a more accomplished player. I will give you that.
All around, and that's on both ends, offensively and defensively. If LeBron is such a great player, how come defensively I don't even think he's ever won Defensive Player of the Year.
He hasn't. He was second.
Second.
He finished second.
Very impressive for a 6'8" beast, so-called 6'8", 250, 260 beast. That's the best player you ever seen on this side of heaven. The man should have at least won 1 Defensive Player of the Year, at least in his long career. He's played in so many games.
I believe he got robbed the year he didn't win it, but I'm not gonna argue about it. Michael only won it once, so
it's still impressive.
So he won it once, and Bron finished second once. I mean,
it's still impressive.
I said he had more.
Steals.
I'm giving you, he had more accomplishments.
Over 400 steals.
If this was who was the most accomplished player of all time, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be sitting quiet, or I might say Bill Russell. But I'm not. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about who's the best player of all time. When I say the best player, I'm thinking skills and accomplishments.
Yeah, and when I'm saying best player, I'm thinking skills, accomplishments, impact on offensive and defensive end, impact generationally.
If we want to talk about impact, let's look at what happens when Bron plays and Bron doesn't play. We can just go this year right now.
All right, go ahead.
When he plays, they're a 4 seed, this horrible team he's on. When he doesn't play, they're like, if he didn't play this year, they'd probably be in the lottery.
10 seed.
Yeah. That's dropping from 4. So he'd probably be down with the Suns if he didn't play. Let's look at his career in Cleveland. They won 66 games his last year. The next year, they had the number 1 pick in the league and got Kyrie. Let's look at his career in Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, who we claim were Hall of Famers, even when he said they got too old.
Assembled a super team.
But the year he left, they didn't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I call impact. Just because he doesn't win awards does not mean he doesn't have impact.
Now
you gotta look more than just at the stat sheets and the record books to see what Bron does on the court.
Well, you want to add something?
I was just wondering if you had anything else you want to say.
I mean, I can just negate that. By saying that if you look at how LeBron plays, Michael Jordan, look at through the course of Michael Jordan's career. This is why I have to put him ahead. He has always learned to adapt to the situation he's in. So Michael Jordan, when he was in 9th grade, he didn't make his 9th grade team. So he had to adapt. He had to change.
Shout out to Laney High School.
Yes. He had to adapt. He had to change. He had to get better. He had to find something in himself to change. LeBron, on the other hand, has always been the guy, always been the main guy. He's always been, the best player on his team. He's always been the most, the biggest star on his team. Then Jordan had to go to North Carolina. He went to North Carolina for 3 seasons. There, Dean Smith, they said they used to have a joke saying that the only person that could stop Michael Jordan was Dean Smith because he had to learn how to adapt and play within a system and get better. So then he went to the Bulls. The team wasn't all that when he first got there, but they had a system. Eventually, as the years went on, he had to incorporate himself into a system and learn how to prepare and learn how to play within a certain system to make the team better, the overall team. Because you saw when players played with Michael Jordan, they eventually got better and ascended to a new level.
Who?
Scottie Pippen.
He always played with Michael. How can you say he got better? He never didn't play
Well,
with Michael
when he
before got in the
actually
league.
no, when he went to another team,
He was old. Come on.
yeah.
man.
When he went to Portland
He
and
was
played by
old.
himself, he
He was
did
old.
terrible. He was awful without Michael Jordan.
The year Michael left in '94, he took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. He didn't do awful.
How was he old though?
I'm talking about when he wasn't old in '94, when Michael was on his vacation.
Yeah.
He took the Bulls without Michael Jordan to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, but they still
one
didn't
blown
ascend
call
to
away
the
from.
Thank you.
They still didn't ascend to the same level, to the same heights without him.
They supposed to be in the finals. What do you mean?
Yeah, but I'm saying all this to say that LeBron James has impact, but Jordan's overall impact is a lot greater because he's learned how to adjust and adapt with other players and with real coaches. LeBron the reason his teams do so badly, I'm getting around to say this. The reason his teams do so badly is because he's never had to delegate to someone else, to a coach. Never in his career. In high school, he's always the best. Let me coach the team. I know more than the coach. And when he first got to Cleveland, oh no, my coach is dumb. I know more than him. Let me just do whatever. Because I'm the best player on the team. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm gonna do. Never delegated to a coach. Never delegated to a superior. So his teams without him ultimately fall short because the coaches. The players he plays with always delegate to him, and they don't know how to play without him.
You like Donald Trump? Where are you getting these facts from? I never heard him say in high school, "I'm the coach. I'm coaching." There was never anything when he was coaching.
I took some creative license.
When he was with the Cleveland, there was never an issue between him and Mike Brown. What are you talking about?
Well, everybody knows Mike Brown he would always listen to
How do you know that? You're just saying stuff.
This is what analysts said. Oh, man. Mike Brown, if you just look at how he did his interviews and stuff, he'd be like, oh, yeah, me and LeBron talked about this and that. Of course, he's the best player, but he's letting one of his players coach the team pretty much. And LeBron he will not delegate to anybody, so his teams will always fall short because of that. He won't delegate to someone bigger or above him.
I disagree. I just disagree. I don't understand. I can't argue with stuff that I can't argue with stuff that I don't understand. I never heard of. Like I never heard these issues when he was in Cleveland. The only issue he had in Miami is the one time when he pushed Eric Spoelstra. The next 4 years, what problems did they have? There was no problems. He just left because he wanted to go back to Cleveland. Now when he was in Cleveland, he got a horrible coach fired because the coach was horrible. Then he got a coach he liked in there.
Oh, I agree. He was a bad coach.
So tell me when he's when is he doing what you're saying? Like when is he coached the team? I don't understand.
Throughout
he
his
did
whole
not
career.
He coached the team with Miami. So you're saying Pat Riley let him coach his team instead of Eric Spoelstra?
Eric Spoelstra was okay. He had input, but that was really LeBron James's team.
You're gonna say that was LeBron James' team with Dwayne Wade? You think Dwayne Wade would let him coach the team like that?
Dwayne Wade assisted. Dwayne Wade was kind of like the captain. LeBron was the co-captain.
Oh, you the source, huh? You was down there. You was all in the locker room.
I was
know.
down in South Beach.
I was like, come on, man.
I was running on the beach, man.
Come on.
With my phone, my inside sources telling me.
All right, you guys ready to move on?
Let's move on.
All right, guys. What we got? We got anything from the room?
I won that.
We had a couple fact check things going on.
All right, let's see.
Nothing false apparently. Definitely true about Michael Jordan being the only defensive player to win MVP and defensive player.
Oh, he said 104. Didn't you say 104 people?
1 of 4, yeah.
Then
the only other guard I think was Gary Payton.
Yeah. I don't think Gary won MVP though.
No. I was just saying defensive.
Yeah.
Only guard to win defensive player of the year at that time.
Yeah, we did a couple fact checks. Everything checked out.
All right, so that one goes to Mike
got.
just because we got that. That also became sort of about influence on teams. So that kind of diverted, but I guess we are moving on. Thank you guys. All right, so I'm kind of adding a little thing to this last little section. Or, I mean, there are 2 sections left, but this is like the big section.
Improv. Let's go.
I'm adding classic moments and strength of. Oh my gosh!
My leg is cramping. My fault, man. My leg is cracked really bad.
What did you just do?
AJ just kicked the microphone.
Hey, did you get a Charlie horse?
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to get out of this chair right now.
I mean, I did have a weight on that thing.
All right, here we go.
All right. Are we gonna cut
Good?
that?
You good?
Yeah,
everything?
cut it out, man.
No,
Nobody needs to know.
leave that in.
Oh my god.
Nobody
All right.
needs to know I had
to
a.
kill anybody, huh?
I'm trying to kill myself, man.
All right. Hey. Okay. So I'm adding classic moments, and so we already had that. But then I'm also adding strength of competition.
Ooh, he gave me a victory off the bat. Oh, thank you, Austin. That's easy money.
Nah.
So so AJ, you're gonna go first this time.
Oh, I
so
am.
classic moments and strength of competition. Remember to talk about both.
All right, so let's start with the classic moments. That boy Bron scored 20 something points to beat Detroit in 07. He was like 22, 23, 07. Let's see, 18 in 03. So yeah, 22 at age 22. Took his team to the finals. Amazing. Nobody's done that. Scored 27 straight. Or was it 20 something? 25 straight. Y'all get me in there. And then let's keep moving forward. So then we got that. Then we got 08 with no other All-Star to win 66 games. Incredible. Let's keep going. Then we go into 2012. He beat 3 MVPs. Yeah, right. Harden, Russell, and KD in 5 games. Who done that? That go into our conversation about strength of competition. And we keep going. He let's see.
I don't mean to interject.
What's
but,
up?
I mean, if you're gonna mention LeBron, you gotta talk about the game against Boston, Game 6.
Oh, thank you. When he scored 45 on them boys, had them shook, broke out the big 3. We ain't seen Paul Pierce since. Like Draymond said, he thought they loved him like that. They ain't love him like that. Brown was mad that game. I mean, that's just amazing. I don't even know what to say. Just listen off his accomplishments, man. We got 2015. I already told you where he led all the team in points, rebounds, assists. He did that again in 2016. Then he came back from 3-1, which has never been done before in the finals, which is amazing. Against the 73 and 9 team?
73 and 9.
Golden State, that's a better record than any team Michael has ever faced or beaten. I mean, nobody's beating a team that good. I mean, it's incredible. Let's see. Help. I'm trying to think. I'm not good with accomplishments because I don't really care about that stuff. This type of debate. Let's see. Last year he had 4 game-winning shots in the in the playoffs. He had the runner against Toronto. Then even in the regular season, he had that fadeaway against Minnesota. He had that game winner against Orlando in 2009. The 3-point shot. Oh, you don't think that was good? That was just average. All right. Excuse me. He had the amazing block. That's a defining moment, that block in Golden State. That's gonna be his statue out there in Akron, Ohio. You know. I'd rather Ryan just go and I can just tear apart.
Oh, you're not gonna talk about strength of competition?
Oh, I almost forgot. Let's go there. That should be really be a separate topic because it's like a big debate.
Yeah.
Can we? Let's just.
Yeah. Okay. We'll add on. So
We'll just do that quickly.
okay, classic
Yeah.
moments.
Ooh, man, it's hard to compete with those LeBron moments, man. I tell you, some of those final shots against those farmers that they picked up off the street. It's tough. But I think there's so many of them. You know, Michael Jordan, he scored 54 points against the Knicks. So when he came out of retirement, that was a big deal because everybody's like, "Oh, is Michael Jordan gonna be rusty? Is he not gonna be able to play to the same level again?" Then scored 54 points on the biggest stage at the time against the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden. That in and of itself is a big deal.
You also got the Boston game.
Which one was that?
The one
Scored 63.
Yeah, he scored
Oh,
63
yeah.
in Boston.
That's not an accomplishment because they still lost the game.
Yeah, I
was a
won't
monster
even
game.
add that one. But the one slam dunk contest when he did that real nice dunk, did like that. But that one dunked on a lot of people. Pretty much a lot of his highlights of his career is just a lot of dunks, slams, layups, iconic, just extremely iconic. When you think about some of his biggest plays you've ever done, you can think of a lot more of his big plays than you can do LeBron. Like, some of LeBron's highlight plays was pretty much, I'd say the biggest one was that block. But Jordan, you can just reel him off like that.
The game winners, right?
Yeah, the game
so
winners
many of 'em.
in the clutch.
You know.
In the clutch. Real nice, when the game is on the line, when the team need to win.
Can I say something?
Fine, go ahead.
You know, Bron has more game winners than Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, right?
Combined or what?
Just more than each of them. I just want to let you know.
Bigger sample size.
No. 1 more year is not that big of a sample size.
Do you know the numbers, though?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know the exact numbers. I just know he got more.
I mean, that could be like 1 more is considered
It's
more.
still more.
Wow. Yeah, and a longer career. More game winners in games that don't count. How about that one game in 2000?
That's in the playoffs, too. You can count. I know he got 4
okay.
last year in the playoffs alone. Come on, man.
All right, I'll give him that. That one against the Raptors was nice. How about that one game when he played like trash against the Celtics? That's when I really turned against LeBron. I think it was like game 5 or 6 or something like that against the Celtics. And he played like garbage. Y'all need to look up that game, LeBron low lights against the Celtics, and the Celtics went on to the championship. That told me a lot about LeBron's character. It looked like he just gave up and he didn't play to the level he could have played. I was like, go LeBron, I want to see you do something. Came up small.
Michael Jordan never had those type of moments.
I mean,
I'm setting you up if you say
every player has those type of moments.
So what's your
at
point?
that particular moment, it looked like he gave up. He didn't show the spirit that the so-called greatest player of all time needs to show in certain moments. Also, you have those ones where, yeah, the 63 Celtics game. Also, I would say, that flu game. I remember that. He came out with the flu, scored 38 against the Jazz, defeated them. That was really nice. And then I think the one where he did, it was a jumper against, that other jumper against the Jazz when he like went, crossed the guy up, and then he pulled it back and then shot, and it was nice. It just has so many of them, just years and years and years.
Did you already talk about the double nickel?
Mm-mm.
The 55.
You talking about
you already talked about
in
it.
the Garden?
Yeah. That was
bad.
my first one. I could keep going on and on, but the reason it doesn't have as much of a strong impact on me, like an emotional impact, because I didn't witness it live, or I wasn't really alive to see it. So I can't really, these are just historical moments.
I pulled up some facts if I can interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
You talked about how Bron quit when he faced the Celtics. Funny you say that. I pulled up the 1986 series where they got swept. You know, Michael was like he's in his bag that year. He scored 63 the first game. You know, we've been talking about that one. Scored 49 the second game, but they lost those 2 games. It's only a 5-game series. So if you lose the next one, you're going to get swept. You know how many points he had the next game? After scoring 63 and 49. 19 points. Now, I'm not saying the man quit or that the man didn't try hard, but it seems kind of amazing. You go from scoring 49 and 63 points, and now you can only get 19 when you know your team's going to lose. I mean, I know.
I mean, but what happened after LeBron came up small against that Celtics team? What happened?
So you just going to know what I just said?
He left. No, I mean, it's a good point. That was in 86. That was, his second or third season. So that's still pretty early on. He didn't just, I mean, that don't mean he just gave up.
Let me go pull up the Detroit
You have to
series.
look at the game and see the fighting spirit he showed. Of course.
I
like,
got 19 points, 5 turnovers.
Not too bad.
Shot 44% from the field. Let's see how many shots he took, because I'll tell you how aggressive he was. 18 shots. That's aggressive from Michael Jordan?
Not bad.
Oh, okay.
Let me see how many LeBron scored.
My point is not that LeBron didn't have a bad series. My point is every player has a bad series. But to say that's what turns you off from LeBron, then that would turn you off from every player, because every player's had that moment in their career. Kobe had that moment where he scored 2 points in the second half against the Phoenix Suns in 07.
Yeah, that was bad.
Nobody holds that against him. But
No.
but people, like, I'm not going to, Bron haters, I don't
But
know why.
I think that's just because I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes.
But just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, you know.
Yeah.
This happened. I can pull up more series. He lost to the Celtics 3 years in a row.
That was an all-time great team.
we're about to move into that point. If he sets us for it,
Well, because we got past accomplishments.
Okay, what we got in the room? I see we got a fact.
Oh, they about to prove him wrong.
According to the stats, LeBron James has 5 buzzer beater shots, while Michael Jordan and Kobe have 5 combined.
Oh!
Now, this is also
Wait.
an older statistic, so LeBron might even have more, but he's definitely beating them.
Buzzer beaters.
Oh,
what?
it's in the playoffs. It's in the playoffs.
In
playoffs.
Okay.
In the playoffs.
That's called getting it done.
That's called being clutch indeed.
No,
Winning counts.
But I do remember a lot of Jordan shots. Like, I think it was this one against.
Oh, here you about to say we like 2 seconds left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's still clutch. That's
It
still
is, man.
clutch.
I'm not hating on him.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to this moment, the strength of competition.
Yeah.
Since
Damn.
AJ went first, Brian, strength of
All right.
competition, go.
Ooh, I mean them '80s teams that Jordan faced was hard, man. So let's just take a look at a few of them. So you talked about how Isaiah was cutting up Michael Jordan. Isaiah Thomas cut him up. That team, that was an all-time great team. And really that team could have won. They could have three-peated, like I said. They had Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas. Who else? I already said that. Mark Aguirre. But let's just talk about that style of play they played with. They were an extremely aggressive and rugged team. They were kind of like how the Detroit Pistons were in that 2004 championship team when they brought it back. It was hard to win. In the 80s, it was a lot of rough teams because it was a lot of elbows thrown. It was a lot of just calls that were not being called at the time. The refs called the game a lot differently than they did today and than they do today. So Isaiah Thomas, I know that they even mentioned like that one time when Magic Johnson like hacked Isaiah Thomas, and I don't know, really he could have got suspended for that, but that just wasn't allowed in LeBron's time early on. Well, just into the game today, that's not even allowed in the game today at all. So the Detroit Pistons, that was a great team, not because they had the best players, but because of the style of play they implemented. And that was always going to be a hard team to beat, because at that time you were allowed to get away with a lot of like hand checks, a lot of hand fouls, hand fighting. And it's just extremely difficult to get your shot off when you have guys that's all over you, that's pushing you, and can get real aggressive in the paint. And the referees won't even call like techs and stuff like they do now. And at the time, it was just a different era, really. A lot of the players would throw elbows in the slide. The cameras were around, but it's not as high definition. Now, if you see, like, a lot of players, if you see someone, like, elbow or someone mentions an elbow or something, they can go to the monitor and check it. But at the time, that wasn't really, like, replay and stuff was not really a part of the game. So they could get away with a lot of stuff back then, really on the sly. If you look at that Lakers team, that was an all-time great team. That was probably the best Lakers team of all time. The 80s Lakers team?
Oh, am I saying something? I can't say anything.
Oh, you can't? That Lakers team with Magic, James Worthy. Ooh, let's see who else. Yeah, Magic, James Worthy. It's just they had so much, that Showtime Lakers team, they had so much physicality as well, but they played with a lot of finesse and a lot of style as well. Yeah, Kareem, AC Green. A lot of this, and Byron Scott, a lot of that was difficult at the time because of the massive number of players he had to go against and compete with. That's just really hard. That was really on par with LeBron competing with Golden State, but to a greater degree, because they had a lot of Hall of Famer caliber players on that Lakers team, and you just can't beat them at that time. They were really like the darlings of the NBA at that time, so that's extremely hard to compete with. And then that Celtics team, that was I mean, a lot of people consider that team like a top 5 or, top 5, top 10 team as well. Because you had Larry Bird, Kevin McHale. Let's see. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale. Yeah, Danny Ainge, Robert Parrish, Bill Walton.
Dennis Johnson.
Yeah, Dennis Johnson. Exactly. I mean, those were those three teams I listed were basically super teams. And if you look at LeBron James's competition, the only team that you could say that he faced was a so-called super team was that Celtics team. That was it. No other competition he faced was so-called a super team. That's it. And that's right there. I just named 3 teams he had to compete with that had basically at least 3 to 4 Hall of Fame caliber players on the team. Maybe even more than that. You can go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna rebuttal what you said first, and I'll go on what Brian did, just so I remember. First off, you said he never faced the Lakers in the '80s. He couldn't get to the finals, so that's a moot point. You can't use him as a team that he had to face.
I mean, but
he never made it there.
I'm just talking about just competitively.
They never competed.
Okay,
they can't.
Okay.
When they did compete, it was old Magic Johnson and the old James Worthy. Kareem had retired. It was HIV Magic,
Even if they did get there, still would have been a hard.
And I was looking up the records of the teams that you were saying were super teams. The Detroit Pistons in 1889 won 54 games. Well, yeah, 1989. Thank you. We weren't allowed to play in 1889. In 1989, the Detroit Pistons won 54 games. That's a super team to you. You said they got 3 to 4 Hall of Famers?
They do, yeah.
Who? When?
Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas. Bill Laimbeer
is not a Hall of Famer.
He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's Hall of Fame caliber. That's why I said.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Look up his stats.
It doesn't matter about stats. A lot of people won't put him in the Hall of Fame, but they'll say he was an integral part of that team.
They put anybody in the Hall of Fame if you barely even decent. They put Yao Ming in the Hall of Fame for 5 years of playing. There's a reason why Bill Laimbeer is not in the Hall of Fame. All he was good at was fouling and beating up players. That's not Hall of Famer. They had 2 Hall of Famers, Detroit.
I'll tell you what, is Draymond considered a Hall of Famer?
No.
There's a lot of people that would disagree with that.
That's why I'm glad I'm not a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. He's kind of like what Draymond is.
And that's not a Hall of Famer.
Draymond is still going in the Hall of Fame.
Bill Laimbeer's
whether you
not.
like it or not.
But Bill Laimbeer's
eventually he might.
Let's move on from the
All
Detroit.
All right, we'll keep going.
That's a 54-win team. Then I looked up, let's see, I went to the Lakers because I think that's who they beat, right, in 91. I think they won 9 games? That's, like I said, that's our old Magic and old James Worthy. I'm just going to the teams they beat. Then in 92, I looked it up, and it was the Portland Trailblazers, which had 1 Hall of Famer, Clyde Drexler. That's a super team? I don't think so. Then we go to 93. The Phoenix Suns, they won 62 games and lost 20 games. They had 1 Hall of Famer, Charles Barkley. That's not a super team. Then we go to 95, where he lost to Shaquille O'Neal, 1 Hall of Famer. Then we go to 96, where he beat Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, 1 Hall of Famer. Then we go to 97, where he beat 2 Hall of Famers, and 98, where he beat 2 Hall of Famers. So wherever I've never seen him beat a super team. He never won a game against a super team. To be honest, he got swept every year against Boston. That was the only super team he faced, and he got swept every year. So then I'm gonna go to LeBron, who has beaten.
I forgot about Golden State and Spurs.
Spurs had 4 Hall of Famers when he beat them in 2013. He lost to them in 2014.
Yeah. But was that really a super team though? Was that Spurs team a super team? I forgot to mention the Warriors. That's a super team
They're much better than the teams that Jordan beat. Let's be honest.
I don't know about that. You see
who they beat that year, right?
Was that team better than the Pistons though?
But you saw who they beat that year. To say they're not a good team, they beat not just the Miami. They beat the Thunder. They beat Golden State when they were still young. That was a good team, and they went back-to-back years to the finals. So
It was a solid team, yeah, but that was not a super
They're much
team.
better than any of the teams Jordan beat in the 90s.
Oh, my God.
None of those teams could make it to the finals more than 1 year besides Utah. And you going to tell me Utah was better than the Tim Duncan Spurs? Those teams made it to the finals once and were never seen from again. They had one Hall of Famer. The West was weak in the East. Weak back then, like how y'all say the East was weak now. And the East wasn't that strong then back either, because we look at the competition in the East. Let's go through the teams. The Knicks had one Hall of Famer, Patrick Ewing. The Bulls had two Hall of Famers this whole time. All the other teams only had one. The Pacers had one Hall of Famer, Reggie Miller. Let's keep going. Who else was in the East? The Cleveland Cavaliers with
Brad Daugherty.
Brad Daugherty. What's the white guy's name? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be racist. They always show.
Think of it.
That's who he hit the shot on, like that shot they showed. Craig Elo, that's his name.
Ooh, I don't even
They had
know.
0 Hall of Famers. That's who that's one of his moments, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who else was in the East?
But they were all in the NBA.
I'm saying we're going over competition though. These are one superstar teams, and they had 2 superstars and the best player on the team, so they should win. They shouldn't go against 7 games. I don't know why they went 7 games with the Knicks. That don't make sense. The Knicks were scrubs. Patrick Ewing's not even a top 20 player.
I say all that to say it was a different era, though. You could get real physical in the night. You can't deny that.
But just because you can foul don't mean you're a good team. Just because you can beat up on somebody.
Yeah,
doesn't
but
make you a good team.
it does much more than go towards skill. That has it has a big psychological impact on the team as well. Whereas you can get away with some stuff by fouling and pushing and stuff like that, and that could have a big impact on influencing whether you drive in the next time you get the ball, whether you just pull up and shoot it from the outside if you're scared, scared to get fouled. So
that doesn't make the level of competition better. And when we go to Bron,
okay,
like I said, he beat the Spurs. That's 4 Hall of Famers. Then he beat Golden State, which by your own words is 3 Hall of Famers because you think Draymond's a Hall of Famer. So that's a super team and the best team record-wise that we've ever seen in the NBA. Then let's see, he lost to the Spurs when they had 3 Hall of Famers. Same way that Michael lost to Boston when they had 3 Hall of Famers.
But I want you to think, out the East, everybody says that LeBron's been to the East Finals so many times.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because he beat 3 Hall of Famers to get to the East Finals.
One time.
I'm trying to find the time when Michael did. You know how many times Michael's done it?
0 times?
0.
Okay.
You know how many times he's beaten?
I'll give you that one.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the team in the 90s that had 2 All-Stars in the East. Can you name me? I can't figure it out.
I don't know. I wasn't around then like that.
I mean, even the Detroit Pistons that he beat in 07, none of them are Hall of Famers, but they were like 4 All-Stars in that game that year that he beat them. That's an accomplishment. I know they like to say the East was weak, but he beat some pretty good teams. And he lost to great teams. The only team he lost to that wasn't great was Dallas, and that's his moment of weakness. So if that's what you want to go at, I mean, you can go there, but it's one moment in time.
Yeah. But still, how did he get to those finals in the first place? I'm not trying to
Because he was a bad boy.
I'm not trying to have this as like low-hanging fruit. But if he had stayed on Cleveland all that time, maybe it was management, maybe it was the general manager, the owner, whatever. Would he have ever gotten to that level that he is now if he did not go assemble a super team in Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh?
He would not, because there was already a super team in the East he had to compete against.
Mm-hmm. So he had to match super teams. He went from super team to match super teams. But
he had to get an All-Star.
Jordan organically built his level of competition.
You sound like an old man.
No, he built it up organically. He stuck with them the whole time, built it up, stuck with it, stayed the course, and he defeated everyone organically.
So it's LeBron's fault that Cleveland couldn't draft an All-Star like Scottie Pippen?
No, it's not his fault.
So
but
what are you saying?
Sometimes you got to deal with what
organically?
you got.
He dealt with it for, 7 or 8 years?
Yeah.
That's not dealing with it.
I mean, they got to the finals one time.
By himself. He couldn't get one All-Star. They couldn't get him one All-Star. You can't blame him for leaving.
Mo Williams was an All-Star.
Oh.
He got that right.
And Mo Williams, he was nasty, I had the Mo Williams jersey in my wall every night. And I was like, man, if only I could play like Mo Williams. Man.
Yeah, I had this poster.
Just trying to,
I know. We needed that. What year was he an All-Star? What was that, 09?
That was 09, I think.
He was an All-Star in 09?
I think so.
That's crazy.
Was that when Antoine
Williams
was that
wasn't
when
bad, though.
Antoine Jameson was on the team too?
Yeah, that was his last year. Yeah.
You forgot he played with Shaq, even though it was only for a short amount of time.
Man, Shaq was 85 when he played.
He
Don't
was
even do
old.
that, man. He was
He's
305.
He's played with some good
390
players,
pounds,
though.
man.
He's had some good players help
When he
him
got to
along the way.
Miami, which you're trying to say is his fault for like developing a super team, he did the same thing Michael did. He just had to do it himself. There's nothing, and that's not a problem. Don't be like the old NBA players. I would have never went to a super team, and they did when they got older. It just bums that they didn't win. Like Charles Barkley, he says, I would have never did that, but he went to Houston.
Charles Barkley is a hater.
He went to Houston when he was like 35 and
Yeah.
still lost. That's why
He's
says
a
that.
hater. That's true. Man, I ran out of steam.
All right, you guys think you got that? So just let's do closing statements real quick, and then we'll get word from. Actually, was there any fact check stuff that we got for that?
In 2009, he was lost.
No inaccuracies found on our part. You guys are doing great.
All right, thank you.
Keeping it civil. I like it.
Thank
Try
you.
to.
Thank you. All right. So, who went first last time? I forgot. I think it was Ryan.
Yeah,
Mr. Ryan over here.
AJ.
All right. So AJ, you get to close us out with yours, and then Ryan will close us out with his.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming through. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm just going to keep it simple. LeBron James is the best player of all time. If you don't believe me, you never will. I'm through.
Ryan.
All right. So, Michael Jordan, he's the best player of all time. Defensively and offensively, superior than LeBron. He utilizes everything, all the skills he's been given, and he's maximized it to the best of his ability. He is the peak of athleticism, the peak of human conditioning. He has reached and ascended to a level that not many athletes have reached. So, for that reason, I think Michael Jordan is the best. And he's a lot better than LeBron. Always will be. And always will be. So, thank y'all for listening.
All right. So let's get a final word from each of the three people in the control room.
What would you like?
Just tell me what you guys thought.
Thought it, well, for the most part, very civil, very organized, and very structured. I think both parties had great points, and we'll let other people decide who won this.
Oh, don't be PC. Y'all know I throw him up, man. Don't do that.
All right. What would Luke and Kirby think?
You know, I thought it was a fair fight. At some points, I thought AJ's faces. I couldn't control my laughter. I'm gonna be honest, they were killing me. He had a lot more points. He had a lot of stats to bring with him. But Ryan also had some good points. But talked himself into some circles sometimes, but it's okay. Overall, though, I think it was a good conversation, a good debate, and a fun time was had by all.
I don't know anything about basketball. Just straight up, this was like 78 minutes of just continuous conversation about things that I had a vague recollection of who these people are. I have no stake in this horse. I hope it was a fun and engaging conversation for you two.
Stake in this horse.
You know, that's actually what is that? That's called a malady. Is that there's some kind of thing whenever you splice metaphors together intentionally.
This
That
ain't
was not
English
intentionally.
class.
That was me just messing up. I might kill that horse. Whatever, it happens. But yeah, no, it was fun listening to you guys. I learned something. Whether or not I'm gonna retain that begs the question. But yeah, continue on.
I have to say, our mediator, I feel, was a little biased at some points.
Thank you.
A little
Thank you.
biased.
Thank
He was
you.
supposed to say impartial, and then he was dropping Mo Williams out of nowhere.
Whoa. So you're saying I was unbiased towards Michael Jordan?
I'm just saying you were biased on both parties at some points, so you can make an
I was
argument
trying to
for
balance
either.
myself out.
Trying to balance. You know, you could have just kept it at even 0, but other than that, it was just a little bit. You did great.
Oh, man.
All right.
All right, Austin, back to you.
All right, man. All right, thank you guys so much, both of you, and then everyone listening too. Thanks to everyone to control room. Darian, the producer, the man. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm Austin Hinton. That's Ryan Monroe. That's AJ Dunn. Let's get out of here. We're ready to go.